Welcome to the Bilingual Summit, I Am Alive, a ceremonial 5-day event where we invite you to liberate your essence, celebrate your life, its cycles, your sexuality, and every breath and heartbeat. My name is Amalai, and together with my beloved sister Mar Guerrero, we are the creators of this summit. It is such an honor and a pleasure to have today Baljit, Rajat. Baljit is an Akashic Records consultant and teacher. Is an intuitive soul purpose mentor, sacred geometry soul artist, and a conscious DJ. She is committed to raise the vibration of humanity and up-level women and men's life by uncovering the truths of who they are to the core. So welcome, Baljit. I'm so excited that we have this space today.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It is great. And today, Baljit is going to talk about this amazing topic, which is reclaiming sexual sovereignty. But before diving into this, which is I think it's an important theme to discuss and to share with everybody that is listening to you today. The question I have for you, Baljit, is what makes Baljit feel alive every day?
That's such a great question. For me, what makes me feel alive is music. I have to listen to music every day. If I don't, it's almost like I feel different. So this music that I listen to just amplifies my frequency and just makes me feel literally alive.
Wow. It's amazing what music can do.
Yeah.
That's great. Yes. I like music too. So
Right.
yeah, it's amazing. It's interesting because depending of sometimes some music can brings you totally up, and some of them sometimes can bring you totally in peace, or sometimes a little nostalgic. So the power of music,
yeah, and it really brings people together. It's
yes.
like sometimes we don't really need words. We need more music to create. For me personally, that's what I think, to create world peace. But yeah.
Yes, that's beautiful. So tell us a little bit more about this topic, reclaiming sexual sovereignty.
Yeah.
What
is it?
Yeah, what is it?
Well, my background is I do readings through the Akashic Records, and I'm an intuitive healer. And with all the sessions that I've been doing, I've done thousands of sessions worldwide, and almost with like every session, when someone is wanting to find out what their purpose is, what their gifts are, there tends to be a parallel in regards to that person's sexual energy. And I'm always guided to go there first. And normally we don't think about our sexual energy when it comes to our awakening and, spirituality, or in connecting with our truth. We kind of keep it as a side dish. So I really want to bring it forward and make this part of our main dish, because it's so important. And it's part of our sacral. It doesn't matter what gender you are. It's when we're connected to that sacral energy, then you're connected to your root, which is in the coccyx area. And that root is all about security and well-being. So when you're not connected to your sexual energy and you haven't healed certain parts of your sexual energy, and we'll talk about that in a bit, it creates an imbalance and a disconnect. So you're kind of disconnected from the sacral down, and even from your solar plexus, your power center. So I've dealt with so many people who have done so much work on their journey, and have done so many ceremonies and so much healing. And then I've asked them, I said, well, how do you feel about your sexual energy? And then they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, have you connected with that? And they're like, maybe. So it gets deflected a lot. And with reclaiming sexual sovereignty, like that's such an important piece because there's so much programming around sexual energy in general being, it could be a religious programming that it's a sin to connect with it, or cultural that you just don't talk about it. So that programming gets embedded and it takes your power away. So the sovereignty piece is about reclaiming your true story about your sexual energy by releasing the stories that you've taken on through all kinds of programming.
Wow. And what would you say this is important for us to pay attention or do something about it?
Yeah, it's super important because it connects you to your purpose. It helps you align to your gifts. And by not connecting to your sexual energy and reclaiming that power, you may notice that you have a hard time setting boundaries. And that might be with family members, it might be with clients, it might be just in general within intimate relationships where you don't know how to express yourself, where you're not able to share your own truth. And our sexual energy is directly related to spirit. It is really directly related to our own truth. When we really embody that, we're like in our power, we feel rooted. So there's a huge difference when I look at people that are not empowered in their sexual energy. They tend to dim their light more, or they're more hidden. They're not allowing themselves to be visible with sharing their gifts. And there's very valid reasons too. Like for some people who have gone through sexual trauma, for them, they may have a belief system that it's not safe to feel visible, that it's not safe to be seen, to share their gifts and who they really are because of that trauma. So when they heal that trauma and realize who they really are, and they really, made peace with that, then they're able to like step into their power and be able to be seen and express themselves.
Wow, that's interesting. And one of the images that came to me while I was listening to you, it was like kind of, it was a blockage. If we don't do something and that energy is not liberated, as you mentioned, then it's a blockage in this flow within our centers. So it doesn't reach the solar plexus where we have that power to say no, maybe, or the relationship. So it doesn't flow completely, and it doesn't flow also down to the earth. So so that explains like how important for us is to really have that energy center like clear, I would say.
Yeah, you said it so perfectly. It's how I normally would share it. I say when your sacral is out of balance, it affects your solar plexus. So you leak your energy, you lose your power. And then it also affects your root chakra, again, which is about security and well-being. So then you become insecure. And then the sacral, goes into fear. And so it disconnects you from your upper channels, so you feel disconnected from your heart center, your emotions, your truth. So it can make you feel scattered or not in your body, or feeling too much in your head. So by connecting to that, it helps to circulate the energy, and you're able to feel more connected and grounded, and you're able to really see, like there's something about your intuitive abilities too, amplifying. And that's what I've noticed within myself personally, going through this journey.
Wow. Yes, because I would imagine that if I am like totally up, sometimes we are in the air, we are thinking a lot, like doing a lot. And sometimes we want to do so many things, and then we are not even materializing things, or like bringing it to the manifestation. itself. But something that comes to me also is, yeah, we talk about this sexual energy, and this energy that it will release, or how would I feel within myself? If for someone that maybe hasn't experienced, it's like, yeah, how would be the sensation within myself? How can I recognize that that's blocked or it is flowing? Yeah, you mentioned some imbalances.
Yeah.
Is there any sensation or physical sensation as well?
I would say physical sensation wise, and I think that's a really great question, is, when it comes to self-pleasure and you're really connecting to your sacral, again, doesn't matter what gender, notice if you're feeling a disconnected sensation or a connected sensation, meaning does your mind just wander off? And do you feel like you're not really paying attention to that area and connecting with it and listening to it with what it needs? So if you're self-pleasuring in a way where you're ignoring by intuitively not asking what it requires, you're actually not connecting to it. You're just, call it masturbating, just letting it, letting it just, you're just letting it, do its
Yes.
thing. But, and it's a temporary gratification, but how you really know is, for me personally, and I've noticed for many, is that they'll experience more of a full body orgasm, or they have an emotional release, or they literally have this awareness when they do release or connect, and they feel this disconnect. And sometimes with people who are with a partner, then they know that they have a block as well, because they'll feel pain while being intimate, while having sex, or they just feel disconnected. They feel like leaving their body. That's a common thing as well. So pain and leaving the body, like having troubles really connecting. And those are usually signs of like not feeling safe and whatever it is that's playing out in the dynamic with the partner. And I always say, whatever happens in bedroom happens in business. So I've noticed, like, whatever happens in the bedroom with someone, if they've been avoiding having sex. So I've seen that with couples, is that if they haven't really healed their sexual energy after having a child, because a child changes everything in a relationship too, they tend to put all the energy in the child, and then they put their own sexual needs last, and that can create a big block within the relationship, because they still need that energy to cultivate, to be creative, to fuel, bring purpose. And when they're avoiding it for whatever reason, it can create a lot of interesting dynamics and blocks within the relationship itself. So there's many ways of how it can show up. And I get a lot of people that I remember I had a gentleman, and I've actually had a few, probably like at least in the last month, about 3 gentlemen that came forward in their session and literally just knew that they were like, I want to know my purpose, but I have premature ejaculation. They just added that at the end, and they knew, they just had, and they wanted to know why, like what's going on. So we actually went deeper into that. So most of the times we know, like we feel it. And it's usually when you're with someone where you're like, okay, I know I can go deeper, or I feel like I'm like hitting a wall here and I don't know what it is. There's something there.
That's very interesting. Like, I would think I would have known mentally, yes, there is an association about everything, but then thinking specifically, okay, my sexual life with my business, like I wouldn't totally, like, I would say I had a realization at this moment. to say it in other words. You know, but you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Until you have like, boom, that
Yeah.
realization. And I was like, that's very interesting. And yes, also capture my attention with this person that have, how you call it, this ejaculation, like
The premature ejaculation.
premature ejaculation. Because
Mhm.
I remember a long time ago I dated someone with that. So it's interesting to see how our sexual life, and also like I was kind of seeing how I was reacting in the different moments in my life and what I was feeling. And the last thing that you mentioned, like sometimes you feel like you are hitting a wall, like, okay, is like what was coming to me is that there is something that is more within myself that I was not kind of showing, or kind of, my doors were closing and even myself was not aware of what was there behind that door. So and it's amazing how as we are evolving, like these layers appear like in a different, is different and it gets more deeper. But yes, this last thing that you mentioned, it was interesting to see. There was a moment though after that that I felt more relaxed and
something clicked.
Something changed. And also what I was realizing is like really all your muscles within start like kind of relaxing so much. So the orgasm as well comes in different levels. It's like, and that experience was like, wow, I didn't know I could relax that much within myself. It was the first time that happened to me that I was totally relaxed within myself, and it shaped the experience totally. So wow, it's interesting because we don't talk about these things, I would say. I was enjoying before, but I didn't know that we can reach these moments.
Level.
Yes, this level.
Yeah. And it's like, there is like, when you experience that, you show up differently, you know, it's like you show up differently in the house, you show up differently in your business too. Like people feel it, they feel something emanating from you, because you feel more connected within yourself, you feel more in your power. So it really makes a difference of how you show up within your own business. Because if there is a lot of insecurities around your own sexuality, it does create a bleed through, not only in relationships, but it does create a bleed through in business and in different ways.
Wow. And what would you suggest the people that are like at this moment, like what would be the first step? Like, what would you tell them? Okay, this is something that you must do now to check, or as you mentioned before, bringing your awareness to that part of your body.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I highly recommend. I usually tell people to go see someone that they can trust. Obviously, you know, if you're seeing someone and you're asking for support, you got to make sure that they're, you know, in integrity with what they're doing, and that because unpacking sexual trauma or any kind of sexual block is a very sacred thing, and to make sure that you're in a safe, sacred container to be able to unpack some stuff. That's really important. I highly recommend, and if you're not ready for that yet, and then you're just by yourself, journaling's like the best thing. Like I've told people to like do a timeline from like 0 up until now, like your age, and just intuitively, just like automatic writing, just write down every sexual memory that you've had, and good or bad, you know, like whatever it is that comes that just stuck to you, or even like awkward moments, and see if there's a common pattern which each of those moments, and you're going to notice something about that pattern and how you show up just in general. So maybe at a very young age, your uncle touched you and it was just like a touch, but you knew it was
Yeah,
crossing
you
the
feel,
line.
yes,
Yeah.
you feel the energy. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And
yes.
then you notice that it's shown up at work, it's shown up in school, and there's just this common thread. And then you realize that, oh, I'm not in a relationship, or I'm afraid to be intimate. I'm afraid to be seen. You could see that pattern is related due to that. So from there, just that awareness itself can help you heal, because you're acknowledging those blind spots that you didn't really choose to look at or just never thought about it. And if you're ready, then you can ask for support, and you'll know, like, you'll be guided, or maybe what works for you is just doing the self-journaling.
Wow. Yes. And in fact, I was listening to you, and to do this self-journaling, you like you already like took this step of being courageous, like to have the courage to do it, because even to write them, even if it's a book or a notebook for yourself, is kind of admitting, is kind of
Yeah.
bringing into light, and it stops being hidden, like it's kind of
Yes. Yeah. And that's so true. And it's like, and it's okay if you're not ready to get support from someone else. If you can privately just get your own journal, just be in a sacred space and light a candle or something, make it special, and take that time to write it down, because you'll be surprised what comes through. Or it might be the opposite. Maybe it's like you have a hard time remembering anything because your memory is like, you don't feel like you're in your body. So if you feel like, here's a thing that you know that there might be some trauma is, if you feel like you're always distracting yourself while you're trying to write it down, and you keep leaving your body, or just like not wanting to go there, it's a sign that there's something there. It's like doing homework, right? It's like, you know, you
yes.
got to, yeah.
Yes.
So, and being gentle with yourself, because we also carry not only programming from this lifetime, but we carry programming from our ancestors, transgenerational programming. So it could be, you know, if you were abused as a child, it could have been passed down as well from your mom and your grandmother, like, you don't know. So being super gentle as well as you unpack is really important.
Oh wow. Yes. It seems it's interesting, but at the same time, the benefits that you mentioned at the beginning, I believe is totally worth it to do it, because at the end, you will liberate yourself, and you will, like, yes, that sensation to walk like, I am in my full power. It feels really, really good.
Yeah, and you end up attracting healthy relationships and friendships in general, because it's like attracts like, right? So you you'll notice that there's some people that you can't tolerate speaking to anymore, because you're like, you're no longer being a people pleaser or an overgiver, or, you know, whatever that pattern that you had. And you'll notice that you'll just be hanging out and being surrounded by people that feel that respect and honor you, because you're learning to do that yourself. You've learned how to honor and respect your own energy.
So what would you say is the sexual energy? We've
Mhm.
been talking, but what would you say, like, how do you explain sexual energy?
Yeah. So to me, sexual energy is, it's not only just a feeling, because we feel it, right? We all have a connection to feeling our sexual energy and using it for our gifts, using it when we're connecting with someone and we're sharing that energy. And to me, it's this universal life force. It's a life force. It's a very sacred life force. And when we use it for the highest good, we're able to really manifest our soul's desires, and really come into alignment with our truth. And that feeling is like, by using your sexual energy too, the byproduct can be an orgasm, you know, it can be other things, but it's an energy, it's our creative life force. And if you think about it, right, if we think about cultural programming and religious programming, societal programming, even, there's been many teachings that it's evil or sinful to talk about sex or connect to that energy, or it's not holy, when really it's the most holiest thing ever. And if we mistreat our own sexual energy as not being that, of course we're going to disconnect from that. We won't know how to use it even. So many of us growing up in all parts of the world were never taught what to do with it. We were just taught not to connect with it. Don't get pregnant, you know, whatever else, right? No sex till after you get married, but not really understand it. Like, what is this energy? Why am I feeling things? And how can I use it for the highest good? When it's been on so many levels, it's been misused as well, to the point where it's been misused in pornography. And I'm not saying that all pornography is awful, but there's a lot of low order energies and pornography. And also with sex trafficking, like, it gets misused so much. So if we learn to empower ourselves by connecting to honor our own sexual life force, because that's our universal life force, anything that we create, that's our creative life force, it just flourishes. And the same thing goes if you're choosing to procreate and have a child too. I've dealt with so many moms who were so disconnected from their own sexual energy and then had a child, and then having to face that. That's a big thing.
Wow. Yes, you said a lot about many things. From one side,
And we're all over the place.
No. I think everything is connected. I mean, like, it's the depth of what you said and the impact. Because what I'm seeing is like bringing this awareness and for us giving the chance to explore this, that since we were kids, we were say, oh, be careful, don't get pregnant, it's not good. Like, if we are listening this since we were like children or adolescents, then of course we already, like, in certain way receive commands to not connect to that energy, or to see it in a different way, give them another meaning. And then in the other side, we are seeing when this energy is unbalanced and in this disconnection with humanity and everyone, it's bringing the pornography that is causing problems for people, even in their relationships. And also you are talking about sex trafficking, which is also like, it is a topic. So the impact, if we start shifting this and we start acknowledging this energy within ourselves, I think it's very, very, very super positive. And changes we will be able to see more changes in humanity. And with that, something also that comes, and that you mentioned, like sexual energy as the universal life force. So it's really, and when you said that, I felt like immediately, like all my column, like kind of like elongating and feeling like very strong. And I was like, oh, yes, it's the energy that is running through me, and through this energy I'm creating and manifesting. And then it came sometimes how we mistake the life force with the energy also of money. That we believe like we need money to create things. If we don't have money, we are not able to do things. But it's the life force within that we have that creates.
And the money is just the byproduct. And also, I want to preface that it's important that I know there's many people teaching about sex magic and stuff like that, but we have to be really careful with doing that, because you can easily misuse sexual energy that way to try to use it to get something. When you're really connected to the universal life force of your sexual energy, and you're asking for the highest outcome and healing for yourself and how you show up, what just happens, it just creates a ripple effect within all your, your relationships that just draws this natural attraction, whether it is money or a partner or whatever that is, that's in alignment to your truth of who you are. And the other piece too is, as you were sharing that, I just kept hearing, there's been, through the societal and the cultural and the religious programming and transgenerational programming, there's a lot of guilt and shame that has been embedded within a lot of us. So having to heal that as well and giving ourselves permission to connect to that energy is a big thing. And I get that a lot from a lot of my clients, especially male clients. They always say that they feel this shame and this guilt on so many levels, and feeling even the pain of like the patriarchy and whatnot, and they don't know how to connect to their partner and whatnot. So it's so fascinating how deep these programmings can affect that connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how unconscious we are about those patterns. So I think like this, you mentioned that you use Akashic records with this. So I think that that's beautiful, because that's a way also to support the release of those knots that are there stuck in the energy. So
Thank you.
That's amazing.
Thank you. The Akashic Records has been a huge part of my journey. And for those of you who are watching and don't know what it is, the Akashic Records is like an etheric library. And it records every word, thought, and event and action. We all have access to it. And with proper training, you'll know how to ask the appropriate questions to receive the highest guidance and outcomes. And I've noticed with using the Akashic Records and healing sexual blocks has been so deep and profound, where I've been able to really navigate and pinpoint, with a person where that sexual block came from. It could be as deep as, the country that they're from and how it was colonized, and that affecting their own energy somehow, so it's been a huge piece personally for my journey, and also sharing that and everyone else's journey. It's been so profound.
Well, and with that, something that you are bringing to my attention is then sometimes how important is history.
Yes.
Is to look at the history of the place that we born, to understand. And also sometimes when we look back at the history, we say, okay, this is not me. It's just something that I'm inheriting from this from this culture.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's
huge.
Yes. And it's interesting because history has not been my area of focus or my area of interest, but it started raising, and now listening to you, it kind of, okay, it's again coming back, is paying attention to history is like, yes, for understanding myself and how all the paradigms that we have today.
I was the same way. I wasn't interested in learning Indian history for India, but then I noticed as I was unpacking my own stuff and helping, especially other Indian women and men too, particularly, I was like, oh, I got to go back to the colonization of India. Like there was stuff from there that I'm still even unpacking and really understanding, like all the sexual trauma and the repression that people went through. And I'm sure it's the same with other countries as well. Like whatever, if we look back at our history, especially if the country was colonized, there's a lot of repression around sexual identity and also how sex should look like, so it's really fascinating. And then you're just able to be like, oh, this is interesting. And then you'll notice something inside of you that you never were able to recognize. And then you're able to connect deeper to your roots, your ancestral roots. And that's the whole point, is how can we connect deeper to our ancestral roots? We do need to kind of look back at our history and uncolonize ourselves and go back as far as we can.
Yes. Wow. Yes. That's amazing. So, well, would you like to share something? Because I believe this topic is amazing, like sovereignty coming back. What would you suggest? Like, if there is a practice, if you want to share for people to start getting to feel or connect a little bit about their bodies or the sacral, or what sexual sovereignty is. I don't know, like.
I can do, I love to facilitate like an Akashic meditation just to get people connected and rooted and grounded. And in this meditation, I'm going to ask that the intention is to connect to a specific gift that will help you realign back to your own sexual power. And it'll be like a key. So
Wow. Yes.
I can facilitate that now.
Oh, that's so that's
It'll
jammy.
be a quick little meditation. Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
just take a nice deep big breath in, just closing your eyes, grounding into the heart center, removing any and all interferences, known and unknown. And just taking another deep big breath in. Rooting into the heart space. And I want you to imagine yourself on a golden pathway. And this golden pathway leads you to your sacred temple, which is your holo records. And as you're walking down this golden pathway, notice if there's any jagged edges, if there's any obstacles, or it might be a nice smooth golden pathway. But if there's any obstacles, any sharpness, we're just going to remove any of those obstacles, smoothing out that pathway so that you're able to arrive gracefully at your sacred temple. As you arrive to the sacred temple, you are greeted by your higher self. You might even see some of your guides of the highest light and order greeting you, and they open the gate into your sacred temple. As you enter the space, you look around and you notice a familiar feeling. It might feel like a library, or it may look like a lounge. So just allow whatever you see to be what it is of your sacred temple. You now walk to the center of the space. And at the center, there's a table, and on top of the table, there's a treasure box. So just notice how this treasure box looks like. And as you stand there, you're infusing your intention to receive a key that will support you in aligning back to your own sexual energy, your own sexual power. And when you're ready, you open up the treasure box and you look inside to see what that is. It might be an object, a color, a form of energy. It might even be a word. So just observe what you are receiving in the treasure box. With your own hands, you pick up the key. And you're capable of holding, even if it's a really big object. And then you're going to ask yourself, how do I use this key, this gift, to help me align to my sexual energy? Allow the answers to come to you. You might hear it as a whisper. You might see the words, or you might just feel it. It's just a knowingness. And if you're not too sure, it's okay. Energy follows intent. So we're just intending that you receive whatever that message is. And when you're ready, you're going to embrace that key, that gift into your heart, infusing that intent with the purest and highest intention, and allowing these shifts to be done with ease, love, and joy. And you take another deep, big breath in, and you notice that you're feeling more connected to your sexual energy. You're feeling sensation down in your sacral, and you're feeling your sacral recalibrating. You're feeling your sacral expanding and integrating this gift, this key. When you're ready, you close the treasure box, still allowing the activation to happen in your sacral. And you give thanks to your higher self and your guides. You head towards the gate, sealing all the energies. And as you walk outside of your sacred temple, you're back out on the golden pathway. You are feeling more grounded. You feel a deep sense of awareness within your own being. And you feel the expansion not only in your sacral, but also in your heart. And when you're ready, you may slowly open up your eyes, making sure you drink some water if you need to, allowing time to integrate.
Mm.
You're glowing.
It was delicious. I was trying to see what is it that is inside this box, and
Yeah.
and it looks like some butterflies, like white butterflies, wings.
Yeah.
Like it was delicate on top of a golden key or golden. Well, now it looks like Yeah, it's more like these things that you used to call out, like I forgot the name,
Like a
but
whistle?
a
Yeah.
whistle. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
It looks like,
interesting.
yeah, in fact, now that I'm telling you, because I was trying to understand what it is, I thought it was a key, but it was a whistle.
Wow.
So yeah, it feels good. It's
Yeah.
really, yeah. It's more
That's
like
beautiful.
bringing all the parts of myself and accepting every piece.
Yeah. You may need to buy a whistle.
Yes. To call them all of them,
Yeah.
maybe. Or maybe to do other things.
Yeah.
It's going to be one of my
Yeah.
toys to use or something.
Yeah. My key, it's my gift.
Yes, a gift. Oh, it was so fun. It was so fun. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, most welcome. Thank you for allowing me to share this. Thank you.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. So, what would you say to the people that are listening? What would be the advice? What would you like them to keep in their hearts about the
Mm.
importance of reclaiming their sexual sovereignty?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Well, we are like in a time right now where we're being bombarded with so much information and chaos, and more than ever it's like, especially for a lot of people that are very sensitive and empaths, it's so easy to take on stuff, and energy management is such a huge thing. So with embracing your own sexual energy, you'll notice that you're really connecting to that powerful force that helps you to really stay in your truth. and and I call it like being like a Jedi, like you just know where to maneuver your energy and just pay attention to, and not waste your time on certain things that don't actually really matter. So there's this level of humbleness and potency and connectedness when you choose to finally take a look at that and unravel your own story, your own sexual story, and take your time and reclaiming that, because you'll notice a huge shift on so many levels, which is, it's so needed. It is like we're in this level of transformation, um, internally and externally. So yeah.
Yes, I really appreciate, and everything like you just mentioned, I think it's is definitely is going to click. I feel like it's clicking and it's bringing clarity, and also it's a invitation, not only an invitation, in fact, is to take out this veil
Yeah.
that we've been covering, using to cover our eyes to not see and accept, and now is imminent. I think there is no way to go back. It's only to go forward and to accept this energy within ourselves and this life force. So I feel
Yeah.
this is very potent for us to, yeah, we need to talk about this. It's very important.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, yes. So, well, I enjoy so much this conversation. I could keep asking and diving and going um, more in depth maybe, but I know also we have a limit, and for everybody that is listening, I'm sure you want to listen more and to know more. I recommend you to visit Baljit's website, because all the details are in her own bio, and you can check it out. You can subscribe to her newsletter, and she has also other offerings down there. And of course, you can contact her if you want to explore more about this topic and many other things that also you you offer in your service list. So yeah, I totally invite everybody that is listening to visit your site and to get to know you more, Baljit. For sure,
Oh,
that's something that I'm going to do as well.
thank
I'm already subscribed, but I will
you.
just check it out more. It's
Thank you.
fascinating. This is one of the topics. Sexuality is one of the topics that is really, I'm very passionate, and I
Yeah.
believe we are not totally integrated if we don't explore that part of ourselves.
Yeah,
So,
100%. Yeah, thank you.
thank you so much.
You're welcome. That was fun. Thanks for having me.
It was great to have you.